We are on Ghana's eastern coastline in the Volta region, where carbon fumes casually burns and darkens the open skies. Here, the tidal waves of the Atlantic erodes the coastline by 3 to 4 meters every year, washing away vital roads and buildings. This is sizable erosion. The land simply keeps disappearing. This is where the original seawall stood. Built in the 1960s, it has long been swallowed by the sea. The latest sea defense looks impressive, if not formidable, but if sea temperatures continue to rise as a result of global warming, there is a real danger that the unthinkable can happen.
The temperature of the sea is rising, the water is expanding, and the volume is rising.
We're expecting a 2 to 3 degree rise in temperature in the next decade.
Now, when you look down, you see that there's a small lake over there. It was something very big. It was very, very big where we fish in, and this side too. But now, you look at it, the sea came and then covered it. So you can't see anything here again. Now this is something small there, and people cannot fish in it again because the sea brought the sand into it and closed it, died. No fishing project can be done here again.
What is happening as a result of climate change or related to climate change is this whole issue of ocean acidification. The oceans are becoming more acid, and as a result, the productivity of the oceans are changing. Many a time, this means reduced productivity, which of course means less fish.
Normally, we've been using this place for vegetables, but now you can't use it at all. Very, very salty. Very salty.
Because of the sea becoming rough seasonally and the tidal waves striking all the time, it's affecting the economic empowerment and the livelihood of other people living in the area.
Keta, and in fact most of Ghana's coastline, can be submerged by the sea.
We need fairly small amounts of sea level rise to cause massive infrastructure damage.
We're looking at the loss of a large part of our coastal areas as sea levels rise, and that tends to be where our populations concentrate.
Approximately 60% of the population of Ghana.
A few hundred kilometers from Keta is the Akosombo Hydroelectric Dam, Ghana's powerhouse, supplying 60% of the country's energy needs.
The most important resource that we need for the power generation here is the water that is in the lake. The water in the lake comes as a result of rainfall that we have in the upper reaches of the water system.
What happens here is important to Ghana's economy and prosperity. In 2007, water in the dam reached critically low levels, causing power cuts and power rationing throughout the country.
A lot of people went out of business. If we're able to cost that, think about the number of people who died in hospitals because there was no energy or electricity to undertake their surgeries and other things. If we're able to put cost to all these issues, I mean, it's going to be phenomenal.
The type of temperatures that you have lead to evaporation, excessive evaporation of the water.
Clearly, with forest cover and other vegetative cover loss, you're going to lose your water sources. Between 1909 and 1990, we moved from 8.2 million hectares of tropical forest cover to 1.6. If you look at the statistics since then, even though there hasn't been a full survey, it is clear that the rate of deforestation has actually accelerated since 1990. And it's probably unlikely that we have 1 million hectares left of forest cover in this country. We're reaching a state of almost complete deforestation.
When we talk about climate change, we're actually looking at a time span of between 30, 40, 50 years when there's been a significant, measurable shift in the major climate parameters. Apart from temperature and rainfall, we have also issues of the frequency of storm events and changing in the start and end of the rainy season. A study was carried out a few years ago which looked at rainfall and temperature in all the agroecological zones in Ghana. That is from the south, the rainforest, coastal savanna, going all the way up to the Guinea savanna and the Sahel. In each of these agroecological zones, the average temperature had gone up by about 1 to 1.5 degrees. This is in the period 1960 to 2000.
All the experts in climate change have proved that the rise of the temperature for the next century will be around maybe 2-3 centigrades, and we have to face this difficulty because it will create many consequences in terms of economy, in terms of education, so we have to face jointly this challenge. At the international level, we had in the past a very important conference, which was the Kyoto conference between 2008 and 2012. And now we are opening a new path with the International Conference for Climate Change in Paris next year, 2015. And we are waiting for very ambitious results, meaning by that that we do consider that now we are at a crossroad for the planet, and all the industrialized and other countries have to engage themselves with very credible results for the next conference.
Tamale, northern Ghana. A young boy rides his donkey cart to the water dam. But a girl gets there first. It's the dry season, and this is all that is left of the water. Elsewhere, it's really about scraping the water from the ground. Adama Husseini and his friends have been up since dawn in search of water that takes them miles and miles away from home. As in most of West Africa's savanna belt, northern Ghana has been experiencing less and less rainfall, which is exacerbating desertification. For Adama Husseini, it means little water for domestic chores. This whole area used to be filled with water, but it has all evaporated as temperatures steadily rise.
Women are basically the homemakers. They get up in the morning and they have to go looking for water for the house, and they sometimes have to travel miles and miles for water. If you have to walk about 3 hours to go and fetch water and 3 hours back, that is 6 hours gone. In gender terms, we say that they are time poor. They have limited time to do so many things. So that when there is climate change and then there's drought, they are most affected.
In northern Ghana, as arable land dries up and gets less fertile, agricultural productivity suffers, intensifying food insecurity and rural poverty. The Ghana's Environmental Protection Agency projects steady temperature increases and reductions in rainfall over the coming decades as a result of the impact of climate change. This can result in food insecurity as a result of declining soil infertility, increased incidence of vector-borne diseases, desertification, sizable sea erosion, and sea rises, increased concerns over the continued operation of the Akosombo Dam, and decline in rational revenue, particularly due to potential decline of Ghana's lead export, cocoa. With drier and less fertile soils and the surge of the black pod disease, climate change can alter the viability of cocoa production in Ghana.
Insulin time to power. The woman not tobacco, one at all. The same penny for say, Mutum Boyana, Yagman and Cosso Hamay. As I say, no, a year Marco, so you're forced to say, be. Honey, a bled or has it? What you could focus here? Cacrapany to me.
You have a scenario for Ghana where by the year 2080, we cannot grow cocoa in Ghana.
Even in its most mildest forms, with the kinds of dislocations and weather patterns for a rain-fed agricultural economy, we are looking at serious social turmoil.
It starts off a chain of events which pushes us deeper to the margin of poverty.
It is my pleasure to see that at the level of the Ghanaian government, the awareness of the challenges which exist not only in the domestic country but abroad is very high. And we are working in very close connection with the Ghanaian authorities in that sense. The fact that the country has recently adopted a climate change plan so that to better insert the country to defend the environment is a very good signal. We are working very jointly with the Ghanaian government so that to make the next conference in Paris, climate change conference, a success. I do think that now at all the levels, it means not only for the government, but for the companies, for the educational system, everybody, every stakeholder is very conscious that the challenges we do face are important, not only for Ghana, but also for the Western African countries. And if we want to succeed, we can't give a very national response. Everybody has to be on board. First, I do think that we have to be very confident with the new generation, which is behind us. I think they are very conscious about the environmental challenges. I do think that sometimes in many countries the educational programs are not so much integrated the climate change or environmental challenges. So in that sense,
we are working with one Earth. We do not know how much, in quotes, punishment that Earth can take. And there's a concept known as the equilibrium point or tipping point, where if we go beyond, instead of having a gradual change in conditions, we may have a rapid and catastrophic change. We do not know where that tipping point is. I would say that let us slow our rush to contribute carbon, because that tipping point might be tomorrow.